Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came in to recap the fights on Google Hangout, True School Sports, and the building as always. What's up, guys? Now, if you guys haven't watched my last few YouTube videos, or you don't know me personally, but you're just stopping by to watch the fight recap, my voice is very hoarse right now, so I'm gonna do my best to try to break down these fights and just tough it out. But yeah, man, we had first of all, today was a great day in the life of Brennan Taylor. Charlotte Hornets picked up their first playoff win in, what was it, 10 or 12 years, whatever it was. So good day there. And obviously, we had the boxing on today. So we'll start with the undercard, which was Roma Gonzalez versus McWilliams Arroyo. And, coming into this fight, McWilliams Arroyo was a guy that people had slept on. He was a guy that people didn't want to give a whole lot of credit, but I mean, look at his record. He only has 16 fights, 2 of them being losses. I know one of them was a robbery, and the other one was a fight in which where he was leading the whole fight. He was up in the cards, but he got caught the last second. It's just one of those things that happens in boxing. So, a good fighter, Olympic pedigree. Yeah, one of the very few fighters Roman Gonzalez fought recently that had that was actually younger than Roman, and I thought that made for an interesting fight. We saw in the first round, McWilliams Arroyo, he showed some power, landed some good shots on Roman, and then Roman was able to basically just dissect him. He took the first 2 rounds off, but he was able to basically just, as the fight went on, just pick him apart little by little, and he hit that on switch. And Roman Gonzalez show tonight, it's funny too, because when you watch other fighters fight, it's just like it's kind of like whatever. But when you watch Roman Gonzalez fight, if you're really a boxing fan, someone who really appreciates the art of the sweet science, then Roman Gonzalez, you watch him, how when he gets in there with a fighter, how he can just slip his head to the opposite side and turn him and create angles for himself. The way he's able to create angles and maintain that frenetic high pace for 12 rounds is just incredible. But yeah, man, he was able to beat McWilliams Arroyo. I had him beating him 11 rounds to 1. I have no problem if he gave McWilliams Arroyo 2 rounds, but really, I didn't see too much outside of more than 2 rounds for McWilliams Arroyo and what you could have gave him. So it was a relatively easy to fight to score. Arroyo, he's a good fighter, a good, talented fighter. And, we saw tonight the difference between a good fighter and not just a special fighter, but a guy that's going to go down in history as an all-time great when it's all said and done, in Roman Gonzalez. Now, McWilliams Arroyo represents the 4th guy ranked in the top 10 Ring Magazine flyweights that has defeated Roman Gonzalez. Or Roman Gonzalez has defeated, I should say. He beat Juan Francisco Estrada, who's ranked number 1. He's beaten Brian Viloria, who's ranked like number 2 or 3. He beat Edgar Sosa, who's ranked number 6. And then I believe McWilliams Arroyo is ranked number 5 or number 7 or something like that. So he's beating some really quality fighters. And they asked Roman in the post-fight, they said, Roman, what are your plans? Who do you plan on taking on next at flyweight? And he said that he wants to have one more fight at flyweight before he moves up to 115. So, I mean, I have no problem with that, as long as his next fight at flyweight is against Juan Francisco Estrada, which I fully expect it to be. HBO kind of wanted to get this fight in with Gonzalez so they can kind of continue the momentum against a good opponent on another big card at the Forum in Inglewood, California. Damn. And then eventually just make that card, make that a main event on its own. And, Roman Gonzalez deserves that sort of treatment. He's a guy who I've already done hour-long videos on and have chronicled why he is the #1 pound-for-pound fighter. So if you guys haven't seen it already, check it out. It's a video on the channel why Roman Gonzalez is a #1 pound-for-pound fighter, and I go through his whole resume. I'm not going to go through it right now, but you can go there and watch it. So there's that. But yeah, man, Roman Gonzalez, I know a lot of people have issues with McWilliams Arroyo because they don't know who he is. Flyweight boxers, or the flyweight division, most people just don't familiarize themselves with these fighters. So when you see a guy with a couple of losses, it's just everybody's trained with the whole Mayweather. Everybody looks at Mayweather and it's like, oh, you have a 0 to be good. You know, Mick Williams had 2 losses, yes, but like I said, analytic pedigree, one of the best fighters in the weight class, and definitely a hard puncher. He has 14 knockouts in like 17 fights, so yeah, he's not no timid. He's not a pillow puncher. Roman Gonzalez isn't there with somebody who has safe punching power that he can kind of just drop his hands and just take punishment. It's a tough guy, and he was able to beat him. So it is what it is. But yeah, he's a great fighter, and I'm hoping that HBO lines it up for him to be the main event on a card. You know, hopefully maybe at the Forum you could put some good Mexican fighters on the undercard to stack the undercard, and yeah, I think you could make a hell of a show with Roman Gonzalez as the main event. He's a main event fighter. He's got main event skills, and if there was ever a fighter at that weight that should get that notoriety, it's definitely Roman Gonzalez. So that's how I feel about that. But good win for him. He moves to 45-0. Credit to McWilliams Arroyo. There was a issue in I believe the 5th or 6th round when he had the sole on his back foot of his shoe came off. One of his Adidas boxing shoe. It completely came off, and he had to tough it out. He had to go in there as a true champion that he proved to be tonight, and fight this really difficult fighter to beat in Roman Gonzalez. And he was able to at least get through the whole fight. You know, Roman Gonzalez has knocked out his last 10 opponents, so McWilliams will show what kind of caliber of fighter he is tonight. Not a Roman Gonzalez level, but who he is at flyweight, but better than his previous opponents. Much better than his previous opponents because he was able to go the distance, had some success in spots. He didn't dominate too many rounds or 20 parts of rounds, but you know there were some times where he was able to land some good shots on Roman Gonzalez. So Williams Arroyo definitely showed he's a tough fighter, and he'll be around in the flyweight division. Maybe they can match him up with Valoria or one of those kind of guys. But damn, one of those kind of guys. But you guys can see I'm sick. I'm toughing it out. But yeah, man, I hope Roman Gonzalez can kind of get the same treatment that Michael Carbajal got back in the day, and get his own main event on HBO. So. Shout out to him. He's doing great things in boxing, and I'm looking forward to seeing his next fight. But let's move on to the main event. This one was between Gennady Golovkin and Dominic Wade. We pretty much knew it was going to happen. Wade was a heavy underdog, and for good reason. Well, before we get into the fight itself, let's go into the reasons why Dominic Wade was an underdog. Number one, Dominic Wade did not have experience at the top level. He struggled with journeyman Sam Solomon in his last fight, and only had roughly about 18 fights. So when you're going from Sam Solomon, a guy who's a good, crafty veteran, to fighting a guy in Gennady Golovkin, who's the most destructive puncher in the game right now, it's a whole other world as far as class, and he found it out very early. And not just that, but he doesn't have a whole lot of power. And one thing I noticed, I really have not watched a whole lot of his fight. I've only watched really the Sam Solomon fight, but he doesn't have a whole lot of defensive head movement. And when you find a guy like Gennady Golovkin, if you don't have a head movement, you are going to get pieced up pretty easily. And not just that, he also likes to fight on the high guard, and that leaves his body open. So Golovkin had no problems finding his body, ripping that left hook to the body, and setting up his other power shots that he wanted to work in there. So stylistically, it was a mismatch. Caliber-wise and experience-wise, it was a mismatch. And that's what we got tonight, was a mismatch. Golovkin went in there, established his jab very, very early, made that very clear. Started going to the body, ripping hooks to the body. Wanted to see what Wade was bringing to the table, so he let Dominic Wade punch him a few times. Kind of gave him the Willie Monroe treatment, and dropped his hands, and he kind of just took a bunch of punches. But ultimately, we saw the levels in class as the fight went on, and when I say went on, I mean going from the first round to the second round. We saw that Golovkin was just too much for Wade to handle, and Wade, I know before the fight, he believed in his skills. He was very confident, and he jumped out the opportunity to fight Golovkin. So you got to give him a lot of credit. You can't take nothing away from Dominic Wade. He came in here and he really, tested his skills, and he saw where he's at as a fighter. So now he can go back to the drawing board, and he can say, well, I'm not at the level of the best middleweight in the world, so I got a lot of work to do, And I believe that, for him, being the young fighter he is, if he's really hungry and uses this experience right, he can work his way back up to this top level. And you never know one day. But credit to Dominic Weaver taking this fight. The Golovkin's a hard guy and a very dangerous guy to deal with at this moment in time. And he got himself a nice payday. I think he made what, $300,000 this fight, which was more than Roman Gonzalez, by the way. That's ridiculous. Roman Gonzalez should have made more than Dominic Weaver. That's another story for another time. But yeah, Golovkin gave the fans a great show. He collected his 22nd straight knockout. And, being that he's at 160, there's only a couple of fights that, as far as middleweights go, that we want to see Golovkin in. Obviously, the big elephant in the room is, will he ever get that Canelo fight so we can get a name, a guy who is mainstream, people know, a mega fight. He deserves it. But it's not really damn it. It's not really on him. It's not really on Golovkin. It's on Canelo. Because Golovkin wants to fight. Golovkin wants that fight. But Canelo is the middleweight champion, and he doesn't want to fight at middleweight. And that's a huge problem. He's creating his own division, Canelo weight, which is 155, and he's fighting Amir Khan, which, is another fight I'm excited for, but at the same time, Golovkin, you got to fight him. So if he's not gonna fight him, like Gennady said in the post-fight interview, give me my belt. All right, that's what it is. So I want to see that fight. A lot of boxing fans in the YTBC, in the boxing community, they debate about this fight. They say, well, who would win and why? I know the majority of people I've heard talk about this fight have said Golovkin would win, but I've also heard plenty of people say that they think Canelo would win. I personally don't think Canelo will win because, we saw Cotto in spurts have success with the jab against Canelo. Didn't have the power to hurt him. It's one thing when you have a jab, but when you have a jab with power to hurt somebody and then you can work off of it, it's a much different story. And Golovkin has it. Golovkin can knock you down with a jab. We've seen it in the past. So I personally think he beats Canelo, knocks him out in 8 rounds or less, and just shows everybody that he's one of the best middleweights, not only in this era, but in the history of boxing. And he's doing the right. He's showing you guys every fight why granted that the guys he's fighting aren't at his level, but he's showing you that they're not at his level. He's revealing that to you. So you can't do nothing but respect him. Now, will Canelo ever fight him? I don't know. I mean, I hope so. I hope he grows a pair and fights him at 160. If not, then Gennady can stay at 160. But personally, giving you the Brendan Taylor side of things, if I was Gennady Golovkin's manager, if I was Tom Loeffler, I know there's politics in boxing, and I know there's things that, sometimes work against you. But if I was Tom Loeffler at K2 Promotions, I would tell Gennady to move up to 168 pounds. And I would tell him to, get maybe one or two fights, easy ones, so he can get the wins under his belt, and then go fight James DeGale. That's the fight that I want to see, because we know that Mayweather fight is a pipe dream. Canelo is going to be really hard to make, and I don't see them just jumping up 2 weight classes to go fight Sergey Kovalev or Andre Ward right now. So if I'm Tom Loeffler, I'm telling Gennady, move up to 168, get 2 fights under your belt at 168, and after that, fight James DeGale. I know he's with Al Heyman, but I'm pretty sure they can make it happen because Dominic Weaver was an Al Heyman fighter, and they were able to make this fight. So, I mean, DeGale, when I talk about pound for pound talent, and when I talk about my own personal pound for pound list, James DeGale will be right there on the tail end of maybe like not a 10 or 11 on my pound for pound list. The guy is a hell of a talent. He can switch styles, kind of like Terrence Crawford does, but he does it in a different way. He does it more on a dime and switches immediately. Terrence switches and stays in his stance. If Terrence is orthodox, Terrence switches to southpaw and he'll stay southpaw for a while. James DeGale doesn't do that. He'll throw 2 jabs and then switch immediately and then do that vice versa. So the style matchup would be great. DeGale's got great boxing skills, and he would be somebody that would definitely not be a stationary target, which is a criticism I hear of a lot of people that like to get on Golovkin and his resume. That his opponent, they say his opponents are stationary targets, and DeGale would not be a stationary target. So that's the fight I want to see. I know people have been throwing out Gilberto Ramirez, who doesn't quite have the experience on that top level. You know, I don't think I'm not interested in that. Personally, I just want to see him go to 168, get 1 or 2 fights at 168, and then fight James DeGale if he can't get these fights right here. Do that, because that seems to be the only good alternative. The only way he shouldn't do that is if like he stays at 160 and then Daniel Jacobs, you know, balls us up and, you know, takes less money like he shouldn't and not price himself out and fights Golovkin, because that would be a great fight. You could have that at the Barclays Center and it would sell out. People in Brooklyn would come to support for Daniel Jacobs very, very hard, and people would come to support Golovkin very hard, and it'd be a hell of a fight. And unlike a lot of middleweights at the top level, I actually think Daniel Jacobs has a slim chance of beating Golovkin. He's got a good, he can box, he can punch a little bit, and he'd be a hell of a test for him. So why not make that one happen? It's really all on Jacobs not pricing himself out. He wants A-side money, he wants pay-per-view money, but he's not a pay-per-view fighter. That's what it is. So that's just my take on it. But yeah, man, hopefully we can get that mega fight straightened out. You know, obviously we got to see what happens first with Khan and Canelo. I know the consensus is that Canelo's gonna go in there and wash Khan. I don't think it'll be that easy for him. I think Khan could easily go in there and outbox him. But that's why we watch the fights. That's exactly why we watch the fights. So I don't know, man. But the middleweight situation is definitely interesting. I went to the heavyweight factory yesterday. I actually have a couple of interviews. I have 2 interviews for you guys coming up soon. And I want to tell you a little bit about them because one of them actually deals with what I'm talking about right now. And that's Shannon Briggs. I talked to Shannon Briggs. Shout out to Shannon Briggs. Let's go champ. All that good stuff. Vamos campeón. Ishli Badish. All that good stuff. He'll be fighting on the undercard of David Haye. He's in camp right now. I talked to him for about 25 minutes yesterday, something like that. And he told me he's a big Golovkin fan. He loves Triple G. And the fight he would love to see would be Triple G versus Sergey Kovalev. Now, obviously, Golovkin's 160, Kovalev's 175. But we've heard the stories from all the sparring partners, everybody who's been in the ring with him in camp, that Golovkin has light heavyweight power. So if he hits like a light heavyweight, then I mean, hey, do it. I say do it. Eventually, that'd be a hell of a fight in itself. I think for Golovkin, if he was one of those guys that was more focused on fame and not dominating his division like fighters don't like doing these days, he would be focused on going to 175 and chasing after the Kovalev and Andre Ward fights. But he wants to establish himself as one of the best middleweights of all time, and you gotta respect him for that. He wants to cement his legacy at middleweight first before he moves up, and you can't hate on him for that, because how many fighters do we see jump from weight class to weight class, picking up easy titles, fighting nobodies, fighting bums, no-namers, Uber drivers, T-Mobile, Geico insurance workers, and he fighting nobody. And we got Golovkin dominating weight class, so you gotta respect him for that. But yeah, man, I want to see him fight Daniel Jacobs. At 160, that's the fight I want to see. I'm hoping Jacobs, if anybody knows Jacobs is watching this video, or anybody, just tell him to go to not price himself out, take a fair amount of money, and fight Golovkin. That's a fight that the fans want to see. But yeah, man, that's really it as far as this tonight went. We didn't really get anything out of the ordinary. We got Gonzalez doing what he had to do, Golovkin doing what he had to do. So really, there's not a whole lot to talk about. I guess the only thing you can really ask is you know, being that Golovkin is rated number 2 or number 3 pound for pound, and Gonzalez is 1. Where does Golovkin? Is Golovkin number 1 now? You know, does Gonzalez drop because somebody finally left the distance with him? You know, those are really the only questions you could ask, and I really don't feel like answering because I still think Roman Gonzalez is the best one in the world, but it's my own opinion. But yeah, man, it's the it's the 23rd right now. It's 24th, I should say, on the East Coast because it's 1:24 a.m. over here. Shout out to everybody watching this, by the way. I really appreciate you guys. You know, it's the 24th right now. Next week it's April 30th. We're gonna have Andre Berto, Victor Ortiz, and then James DeGale and Lucien Bute. So I guess I'll talk a little bit about those fights before I get off of here because my throat is very sore, guys. And as you can see, I'm coughing. I'm doing this really at it for you guys and the people that follow me on this channel. And love boxing. So I appreciate you guys for watching. But yeah, no, we'll start with Andre Berto versus Victor Ortiz. This fight right here is one of those fights that if you're a casual fan who doesn't appreciate the sweet sound like I do, this will be a good fight for you because Berto is the guy who likes to stand toe-to-toe and fight on the inside. Victor Ortiz is the guy who likes to stand toe-to-toe and fight on the inside. And really, the winner of this fight is definitely in for another big payday because Berto's coming off the huge Mayweather payday. And Victor Ortiz is just trying to get his name back in the mix. He's been out of the mix for so long as far as relevancy in the welterweight divisional landscape goes. So the winner of this fight not only gets bragging rights in the rivalry for now, but definitely gets another big payday because you figure if Berto wins, then he's definitely in line for Garcia, Thurman, Porter, or Spence, or one of those guys. And then same thing for Ortiz. If Ortiz wins this fight, he's in line for those same guys. So I think monetarily, financially, and for bigger opportunity, that's what's going to happen with this fight. I don't really have a prediction right now. And honestly, it's kind of hard to predict that fight because really, Ortiz has been out of the ring for a long time. And then Berto, he's been active, but, really hasn't beat anybody. So it's kind of a hard fight to predict. But once I get time to really sit down and think about it, I'll have a prediction for it. Then we're going to have in Washington, D.C., shout out to my man, DC Mike TV. I know he'll be out there in D.C. covering it. He's always up there in D.C. covering the fights. You got Lucien Bute versus James DeGale in the main event. And on the undercard, you're going to have Badou Jack. Oh, no. Lucien Bute's fighting Badou Jack, and then James DeGale's fighting, what's that one guy's name? Medina or something like that. Now, as far as the James DeGale fight goes, I really don't know too much about his opponent. I just know that he's like a contender in that division. He's a name, and I know that Badou Jack fought him. Badou Jack has a common opponent with him. And I know Badou Jack said he's a tough opponent, and that was one of his tougher guys he fought. So for James DeGale, he's got to go in there and do what he usually does: box smart, change angles, make it awkward, make it tricky, make it a hard fight. And he should be able to get the win. I don't really know much about the Medina guy, but from what I heard, he's really good. He's better than what people know. So I can't really break down that fight because I don't know much about the other guy. I just know James DeGale. But as far as Lucien Bute versus Badou Jack, I mean, we'll start off with Bute being the B-side guy. Bute is the guy that was once champion, the IBF super middleweight champion, a guy that Andre Ward, and I had to say Andre Ward, ducked, a guy that basically, is past his prime. Put up a good fight against James DeGale for a couple of rounds, but really it wasn't good enough to get the W. And he's being brought in to lose. We all know he's being brought in to lose as another name for Badou Jack to build him up, to build up a potential fight between him and James DeGale. So it'll be an interesting fight. Badou Jack has to get past Lucien Bute. He's coming to fight, so I think we're gonna need to see the Badou Jack from the George Rose fight, the guy that didn't throw a whole lot of combinations, but threw smart combinations, threw them at the right time, and really was able to land accurate shots. So I'm hoping we get a good fight with that. If Badou Jack and James DeGale are to successfully do what they got to do, then they should be able to meet this summer, and that'll be a hell of a fight. Obviously, I would favor James DeGale because that's, to me, is the best fighter at 168. But Badou Jack has learned from his past losses against Derek Edwards, and he's beat guys like George Groves and Anthony Durrell, and he's proved that he's a proven champion, and you can't take that away from him. So you gotta tip your cap to Badou Jack for getting himself to this point. But Lucien Bute, he's able to win, that would be a great accomplishment for his career. He's expected to lose, so if he's able to come out here and win, I mean, that opens up a whole new door of opportunity for Lucien Bute. So it is what it is there. But yeah, man, I'm actually gonna get off this, guys, because my throat is really killing me right now. I'm having a hard time just projecting my voice, as you guys can see. But yeah, man, Roman Gonzalez looked great tonight. He proved why he's still pound for pound #1. all y'all haters out there hating Roman Gonzalez, you gotta stop, because the guy has fought plenty of good fighters. I'm not gonna name them all, and I'm not gonna go through because number one, my throat hurts, and number two, I did a whole hour video on it on the damn channel, so you can go check that out for yourselves. And Golovkin, I mean, he did what he had to do. He knocked the hell out of Dominic Wade. It was pretty easy work for him. Probably one of the easiest fights he's had at this level. But hopefully, some of these middleweights start hike their skirts up and fight the guy, because the guy deserves a big fight to prove how good he is and test his skills for real. So, yeah, man, just guys, stay tuned for the Shannon Briggs interview. It's about 22 minutes long. I gotta chop it up. We talk about a lot of stuff, upcoming fights, his career, fighting on the David Haye undercard. He even said in the interview who he's fighting on the David Haye undercard. So you will find out who he's fighting, but I'm not gonna tell you here. You gotta watch the interview. But there's that. I also talked to Riddick, Big Daddy Bo, 2-time champion. He actually told me about his not fighting Lennox Lewis, the Olympic trial situation, what happened in the Olympics, what happened with him and Lennox Lewis, why he didn't fight Lennox Lewis, why he vacated the title and threw it in the trash. Lots of interesting stuff in these interviews coming up, so you guys stay tuned for them. But I'm going to get off. Great night of boxing. Shout out to Roman Gonzalez, Gennady Golovkin, McWilliams Arroyo, and Dominic Wade for stepping into the ring tonight and giving us boxing fans another marvelous night of boxing. But I'm going to get off. Thank you guys for watching, and take care, man, and God bless.